everyone, John Henry here, slingshotfutures.com, and welcome to the Market Outlook, where we take a look at our big four favorite markets and we project forward for tomorrow's price action with as much information as market wants to give us. Now, tomorrow being the 11th, finally back from a long week holiday, where likely last week a lot of traders and a lot of people in general take that entire week off. It's during the summer, the weather's been pretty good for the most part, and it's just a great time of the year to take a little bit of an extended holiday. And the anticipation is that coming back today and going through the rest of the week, we're going to have some traders that are coming back to the desk, have more people going back to work, and things slowly kind of returning back to normal, whatever that means. Now, the anticipation is that this week builds a little bit slowly. We start off on Monday a little bit groggy, work our way forward, and then as we progress through the week, it'll tend to get a little bit quicker. Now, along with that, today was also the opening day of the Russell. Now, I personally didn't take any trades on it. I wasn't even able to really get the charts to load correctly, so that is, growing pains as expected, but that is a market that we will definitely be keeping our eyes on as we go forward. Now, before we jump on in, as always, make sure to swing on over to slingshotfutures.com, scroll down, and click on the Join the Daily Outlook newsletter. That's going to let you sign up for our email list that you'll be notified every single time one of these videos comes out. Along with that, in that newsletter, we talk about different stocks that we're watching, different cryptocurrencies that we're watching, options, etc. If it moves, it'll probably show up in that newsletter at some point. At the bottom of the page, don't forget to check out our blog post section. We talk about all kinds of different stuff. Right before the live trade room opens up, we open with a live trade room morning prep post, and that goes over all of the major markets that we trade as support and resistance levels to keep your eyes out on. And then, of course, in the afternoon, we talk about market psychology, or we overview a trade that we had that day, just to kind of get our focus as attentive as possible, learn as much as we can as we continue through our trading week. Now, if you haven't done so already, make sure to click on the live trading subscription and trial info. Inside there, you'll be able to sign up for a one-day trial. You can sit down with us in the live trade room, and you can see what we're all about, see if we're a good fit for you, and just kind of hang out with us. You can bounce questions off of us, you can meet some of the members, etc. It's a really cool environment, and it's a great way to see what we're all about without, having to go too crazy. Now, of course, if you do enjoy the room, you can sign up for a weekly or monthly subscription, and if you join as a full-fledged VIP member, you, of course, get the live trade room as part of the package. Now, taking a look at the euro, really didn't accomplish a whole lot. It looked like we were going to have a pretty good day on our hands with quite the range to start the day off, but then a huge breakout move up, completely failed, and dumped all the way back down to a new low. So basically, in terms of cyclical movement, we have a move from the low to a new high, to a new low, to a new high, to a new low. Chances are we're probably going to grind our way back up towards a new high. The one big line in the sand, actually two of them now, that we have waiting ahead of us that the sellers kind of have as a last line of defense, the falling wedge top that has been created off of these most recent swing highs, as well as the major horizontal resistance coming across all morning at 14,500. If the buyers can break above that, we're looking good to break through the high of day through 4,600 again and continue that rally back up. If they fail, though, that's where we start running into a little bit of trouble. So right now, we'd be looking for something like this, a breakout above, use it as support, and rally the market back up towards the highs, and that would be the optimal situation. But if we see something like this where it pops up above, pulls back, it doesn't do so well, okay, and then we start seeing this, it's time to sell because we could be looking right back down to the lows again and cycle it back down through that 14,350 area, that earlier area of resistance turns support. And then if they can break through that, same situation, but to the downside, looking for continuation down to the lows at 14,245. We are in a range, and as always, we look to buy low, sell high, stay out of the middle, and right now we're kind of in the middle. So a little bit of sitting on hands is necessary here while we let the market kind of figure out what it needs to do, but we have a plan on both sides. We just got to wait for the market to tell us which one to use. Over on gold, very much the same. Lots of range-bound momentum. We have an open here. We're going to be closing here. On the daily chart, we have a very bullish rejection off of the lows. Big old wick on the bottom and a little tiny wick on the highs shows that we tried to dip lower on the daily and completely failed out of the bottom. And if we zoom out a little bit here, that gives us a really big clue because now not only do we have an area that was support turned resistance, if we widen that out a little bit, notice what we came off of? Came off of the bottom of a multi-day wedge bottom with huge bullish rejection. Now, that is really giving some signs that although this does look like a range, and we may be running into some trouble at the moment, meaning that we want to buy a pullback, we definitely still have the potential for an upside rally back up towards, right around the 1219s or so. And that's really the major objective, is coming back to that earlier area of congestion. We had multiple lows there. They attempted to break out and failed there. Multiple lows there. It would be wonderful to see them return to that area before we start switching to the sell side. So that's the major upside objective right now, right around 1219, 18.7 in that area. And looking a little bit closer, we can see that the buyers are having a little bit of a hard time. They keep hitting their head on this ceiling that the market has put in. The sellers are defending the highs quite aggressively, but if that breaks through, we're looking for a quick pullback and a rally back up to finish that objective off. Now, the same thing can be said that we were talking about with the euro. If you see another continuation move, it doesn't do so well, tries to break out but fails, something like this, that could be a big clue that we're gearing up for a much deeper pullback. And in that case, we'll still be looking to buy, but we have to be a little more guarded. Buying too high, not a good scenario in that type of breakdown. So if we can break above 13.8, we should be all of the gas pedal down to the floor, looking for that rally to the upside that we're looking for. But if that fails, looking to buy it around 10.8, 9.8, all the way down to 8.4, if we can get some better prices to finish off that move towards the upside. Switching gears now over to crude oil. Crude oil had a pretty big rally off of the bottom. That's the selling pressure that came in earlier this morning. The buyers took most of that back. They really didn't give much of a chance, other than saying, you know what? Well, you had these lows for most of the morning. Let's fail a couple times and turn back around. And this is a picture-perfect example of what we were just talking about. They try to go lower, they fail, they try, they fail, they try, they make a higher low again, and then it's off to the races back to the other direction. And it's the same thing that we're seeing here. Major resistance, final call for the sellers really, up at 44.74. If that starts breaking through, very good chance that we break out to the upside and continue that movement higher, maybe to some prior objectives that may have been put in earlier in the markets. Again, looking back at earlier areas of interest, well, I mean, we're kind of near one, right? Very, very close, and arguably this whole area could be one. And you can see several times had a really hard time there. We failed here. So it's not over for the sellers. The sellers definitely have a chance, but the buyers need to at least show that they're failing. And so far, we haven't even really had that. We just kind of have a wedge. So we have a descending wedge forming here. If the buyers pop back up, fail to get through that 44.74, that is a good clue that we're looking for a downside move, potentially even to a new low. In the meantime, though, we have buying opportunities around 44.25, 44.11 down to 43.91 for that attempted rally up to 44.74. And again, if that fails, looking to switch gears back to the downside once again. And then finally, on the S&P 500. The S&P 500, not really much going on here either. Pretty big range overall, and really that's kind of the best way to draw it up, is just a big old range. Market hasn't really proven a whole lot today in terms of trend-type movement, and it kind of makes sense. Again, we anticipate a lot of stuff going on today, people coming back from the weekend, etc. And we also have a new indice opening up with the CME being the Russell, so a lot of attention may have been split today. But overall, big old range, and we're right in the middle of it. And we know what to do with a range. Buy low, sell high, stay out of the middle. Right now, the high of the range looks best at around 24.29 even. The lows of which look good at 24.20. We have a couple areas of support in the way at 24.25, 23.25 down to 21.5. And 21.5 is also last month support. But for the most part, kind of sitting on hands until we can get to the extremes. Up here, down here, I would love to see what happens on a retest of these lows. And looking for kind of the same thing. We came back to these previous highs. They tried holding it with a double top. It held for a little while, definitely enough for a couple scalps on the way down if you were watching it, and then it popped back up through a new high, completely failed, and dumped back down. Now we're looking for that cycle to go down to the lows and see the same thing. A potentially slight lower low, maybe a double bottom, get a little trap on the bottom, and then cycle back up, and that is the area that we are looking for the most interest, maybe around the 19, maybe around 18 or so. But for the most part, we're in a range, we're right in the middle, not much we can do here. We just have to wait for the market to get into the extremes, and we have a plan on both sides, looking to fade both ends, buy low, sell high, and well, right now we're in the middle, so we'll let it do its thing. Now, that's going to do it for the outlook. Taking a look at the news for tomorrow, there wasn't anything today. Tomorrow, kind of the same thing. We only have one big news announcement for the U.S. session. That's at 10 o'clock. The JOLTS job openings for May. Forecasted 5.95 million. Previous was 6.044 million. And that's it. Now, we do have a bunch of small news here and there for tomorrow, like we always do on pretty much every day, but with there only being one news announcement tomorrow, and it's pretty late into the morning session, we may have a slow, grindy morning tomorrow. So just be a little bit prepared going in, play it safe, and like we always say, make the plan, trade the plan, follow the rules, and you'll be A-okay. Until next time, we'll see y'all then.